men do not value or even treat texting as anything. Like they don't develop connection that way. And so when you are messaging a guy and putting all of your eggs and like the cart before the horse, I guess you'd say, you're actually dimming his attraction. And I see so many of you making this mistake with men where you are getting into this like instant relationship in your head with him when he hasn't really done anything. And so when you give a man your number, and I definitely don't recommend doing this, and I talk about this in my book, What Men Want, but you definitely should not give your number to a man. I guess it's different if you meet him in real life. Then I guess you can give him your number because there's no other modes of communication. But I would really limit texting and phone for a while. Like I would not do any of that, and I didn't with my husband until we were in a committed relationship, because men don't build attraction that way. Like to a man, when you're texting him and you're showing all this interest in him, it it really does nothing for him. And if you allow a man to kind of like have all this access to you before he's even earned it, and I'll get into what earning it means in this video, but if you give him like all this access to you when he's not even earned it, he's just going to lose interest. He's going to get bored, because to men, and this is like I'm talking about real men. So you guys know on my channel I talk about the masculine and the feminine. So like masculine men don't want to engage in like texting, and they're busy. And even when my fiance and I broke up before we got married, there was a period of like 3 months, and I had asked him if he like went on dating apps and all that. And of course he didn't, because he was like miserable without me. But one of the things he said to me was that he didn't do it because he didn't want to like spend time like texting someone and like doing all that. And I was like, well, babe, like you need to do that to get to know someone. But he was not interested. And so men are not wanting to sit there on their phone and like text all day and speak on the phone all day. And so if you see that a man wants to do that, that's like a major red flag, because healthy men are just too busy to do that. And here's Mia. Healthy men are just not wanting to do that. Like they're busy. And men that are healthy in their feminine energy or masculine energy or more empowered are going to want to like meet you and set up a date to see if the attraction is there in person. And the reason for that is you can't really develop anything or know that anything is like real or genuine on the phone or even through texting. And so the mistake that I'm seeing so many of you make, and it's fine, I understand where it's coming from, because as women, we desire connection. And I understand that. Like, we want to feel connected, and we want to feel wanted, and we want to feel pursued. And so we fall into this trap of like texting a guy, and we get overly excited when he's like messaging us. And we start developing feelings for a man through words, right? Like I love when you guys appreciate me. I love when anyone showers me with words, right? Because women, we fall in love not only through like the actions, but like being seen. And men that can see us, or we think they can see us, we like it. It feels good. The mistake, though, is that you're creating this sort of fantasy. And it is a fantasy because oftentimes, what I'm seeing with many of you, and even a woman I spoke to the other day, is that there's no like relationship there. And so if there's no relationship with a man, and you've exchanged numbers, and again, like in What Men Want, I go into like the specific stages, how long like courting should be, how long dating should be, and like how long it should be before you get engaged, etc. Like Peter proposed within 7 months, but I took things very, very slow. And I get into that in the books. And I also talk about not texting and how to like navigate that. Like you should never give your number out to a guy until you know that there's interest there on his part, and he's done um like several things to win you over, and you've developed a certain level of trust with him. You don't want to give him your number and engage in like this texting relationship with him. So a lot of you, as soon as a guy gives you as soon as you give the guy your number, and he starts texting you, you start to get like hooked, and you start to hold on to everything he's saying. And what I really want you guys to understand is that to a man, texting means nothing. It literally means nothing. To them, when you are texting them all day or they're texting you, it's not building any sort of emotional intimacy with a man, because they build emotional intimacy when they're with you. There's an attraction, you feel good to be around, and those moments like build. And in that, he's like winning you over. So, if you fall into this trap of texting a guy, what's going to happen is that your interest level in him is going to go up here and his interest is going to go here. And the reason for that is because the more he's texting you, the more you're getting interested in him, the more this connection is happening with, and as women, we're going to desire connection. And so the more you having this relationship and you think this is like real, he's messaging you good morning, good night, you're not even in a relationship. He hasn't even asked you out on a date. You're thinking, okay, well, this is good. Like this is like leading to something, and our oxytocin levels are going up because when we talk and we share and we're connected, we our hormones like our oxytocin, our estrogen, everything goes up. For a man, it doesn't mean anything. And when you do this, your interest goes up, meaning you're starting to get like anxious, and when he doesn't message you, or you're like waiting for his like message, and you get overly excited. And then what starts to happen is you start to pursue him. So you start taking his role, you start messaging him first, or even if you don't message him first, you are like anxiously, your energy is toward him. So you're waiting for him to message you. And so even the woman that I spoke to yesterday, she's like so amazing. She hadn't heard from this guy since like last year, I think June or July. And I was speaking to her, and she was giving me all this detail about their interaction, and I understand why you guys do that, because you want to build up that he's so interested in me and what happened. And I said to her that there was nothing there, right? Like they met, you know, they met they met. I don't want to, I guess, give details, even though it won't really give anything away. But they met, and she gave him his number, and after that, like they live quite far from each other, so they live in completely different parts of the world, and they were WhatsApping, and that was it. Like there was no mention of him coming to meet her. There was one phone call, and there was just really nothing. And she developed this connection with him, and I had said to her that, yes, of course, the attraction was there. He was definitely attracted to her. And, I loved her energy. She had a very beautiful energy. She's likable. So if I like someone, of course, a man is going to like her. But for him, and he even said it to her, that, the distance plays a factor, right? Like they don't live nearby. And so she was getting very attached to the messages because, again, as women, we're connection oriented. So I don't want you guys to feel bad that you're looking for that connection, because that's normal. And this is why I, want to create some sort of community where you guys feel connected and you feel safe. Of course, we don't want toxic energy women there. We want healthy, empowered women there. But we want that connection. And so when we're looking for it from a man, when a man hasn't done anything. And so what I was saying to her is that if you're feeling triggered and there's expectations when nothing has happened, so there's been no date, this is how you know that there's inner work that needs to be done. Because a woman that is more along her healing journey, and I want to just say more along because we're all healing at whatever level we are at, but a woman that is more along her healing journey is not going to give any sort of precedence to a man that is long distance, or that is really not going to be able to give her like security, and security in like a physical sense. And she's not even going to get hooked on that. And what I was saying to her, and what happens with most of you, is that we want love, but then we'll push love away. And this is why inner work is so important, because we need to identify the blocks that are keeping us from the thing that we want. Because if we don't identify that, we're just going to keep playing out the patterns, right? And in my inner work course, you'll learn so much about yourself and masculine and feminine energy. It's so affordable. So like take the leap into learning more about yourself and doing the inner work in that course. Like I made it super affordable so all of you guys can start like shining a light into what's going on within you. But what will happen with most of us, and this woman, she's 55 and she's never been married. Um, of course, deep down, we all want love, but sometimes we'll say that we don't want love or we love being alone because we're so scared that what if it doesn't come, right? And so we sabotage it. And one way of sabotaging it is, being with men or pursuing relationships where there's literally no chance of a relationship happening. So pursuing unavailable men. So deep down, we can want love and our heart wants love, but then we're pursuing men that are not pursuing us and we're overly invested in them. That's just the ego's way of keeping us safe, right? And this is why, as much as um, we don't want to judge the ego and we don't want to be angry at the ego because the ego's intention is just to keep us safe. We do want to understand the ego's mechanisms and we want to learn how to self soothe. We want to learn about we want to be gentle with ourselves. We want to learn about ourselves. That way we can see the ego and see what the ego is doing, but we can break free from those patterns. But without even seeing what we're doing, and this is why for me, I like strategy is great, but the main thing, especially when you get on a call with me, and good for you for any of you guys that have got on a call with me because I am not easy. Like I will kick your ass on a call. And the intention for that is so that you can see yourself and you can break the patterns. It's kind of like the harsh truth that you need to hear, right? Otherwise, you'll stay stuck in this fantasy land. And I care about you guys too much to do that because you're wasting your time then. So I just want you to know and to end off this message that to a man, texting and any form of verbal communication that is not followed up with action is meaningless. And do not put yourself in a situation where you are giving yourself away and giving your heart away to a man, with your emotional connection. If he's not like earned that. And so earning that means investing in you. And investing in you means he's consistently shown up in action and he's consistently, set up dates, spent money on you, and he's like earned your heart, right? Um, if a man is looking to just get your number, text you all the time, what he's doing is he's trying to like put all of the options that you possibly could have just into him. And when you do that, what you're going to notice is that even though it feels good in the beginning and it feels like it's hot and heavy and he's messaging you all the time, as soon as he knows, and this is again unconscious for men or healthy men, oh, I've won her. I haven't even done anything to win her. All I did was text her. I haven't even like taken her out or spent any money on her. I haven't done anything. He will start to lose interest. And that's when you'll notice that like his messages will like die down. He won't message you anymore and you are going to feel heartbroken. And so there's always ways to turn this around and you can always like book a call with me because every situation is different. And so this is like generic advice that I'm just like giving you guys, but always like take steps to go deeper in the books and in the course and book a call with me if you want to know um like how to turn your situation around because again every situation is different. I had a woman that was speaking to me that her relationship, it was a little bit more established where he had come to visit her and they were long distance and like there was more of a connection and then it started to die down. And for her, it was different because her energy was very flat and it was kind of boring, right? Like even the messages she was sending to me, it was just boring. And I said to her, well, there's not enough energy. You don't have enough energy for men to pursue you, right? And so even if he messages or breadcrumbs, it wouldn't be enough I guess that's like the best way to say like describe it. Like men need this like level of like, oh, like I want her, this like passion to keep moving things forward. And if they don't feel that from you, they're just gonna get bored, right? And so like that her situation was a little bit different because of that. And in her situation, and this is like we've been doing email sessions since what's happened is she wants something more significant. It's been 5 months. He did make the effort to come see her. He has had phone calls with her, but she's not stepping into her power by communicating what she wants. And when you don't do this, and this is where the self-worth comes in, and this is why we want to become like the highest version of ourselves or like a high value woman, is that when you don't do that and you don't set boundaries, again, a guy's going to get bored because he's going to think, well, I know I should be committing to her because it's been 5 months that I'm not doing that. And she doesn't really care. And we don't want to communicate boundaries in a bitchy way. So I can get into that in another video. So again, every situation is different. The woman I spoke to yesterday, very different situation for her because they had no dates. There was nothing, right? They met on vacation, and after that there was nothing, just messages here and there, one call. So this isn't even a guy being like, there's nothing wrong with the guy. Like, I can tune into people's energy. His energy is nice and fine. It's just that for him, they don't live in the same place. So there's no like incentive for him to continue to move things forward because they live on like different parts of the world. So it's completely different energy, a completely different situation. And for her, she needs to do the inner work to ask herself why she got so attached. And this is what me and her are going to work on in the future sessions. And I gave her a lot to think about already. So every situation is different. But again, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you on the next one. Bye for now.